All right, we're going to attempt to do something now that, as far as I'm concerned, you may or may not agree as we go on into this, but as far as I'm concerned, what we're about to do is it's not difficult, all right, but it's different. So the reason I'm telling you that is that you have to literally watch what I'm doing and basically, for lack of better words, parrot what I'm doing. And if you do that, you shouldn't have any problems with this. All right. Now, I've already created the equivalent of this program, and I want to just show it to you. All right. This is the one we're going to copy over in just a minute. But rather than you having to copy in any of it, all right, what we're going to do is, notice when I run it. I just want to show it to you. So please enter first name, Jeff, Scott, junk hours, boom. So hours work must be numeric, so I reset it to 40. All right, please enter hours, boom, junk. I reset it to 1, and you'll see it's got 1 and 40. That all worked. All right, and if I run it again, and I put in 50 and 10, did I do it backwards? No. All right, that should have said hourly rate, so I'll have to fix that. But that worked with overtime, and if I run it again, now we'll see where that says hours right there. That's correct. Everybody see that? That's correct. That's wrong. That should say hourly rate. So the only change when we get all done that you're going to have to make is that line, to change that from hours to hourly rate. And it'll be totally done then. Okay? All right. I'm going to do the same thing that I'm going to ask you to do in just a second. But I've already got a program here that's called employee4. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close this. All right. And I'm going to change the name. And I want to show you quickly how you can change the name. All right. So I'm going to right mouse click on here. When I say the name, I'm talking about the name of my project. Okay. So I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to go over to Refactor Rename. See that? Because you're going to do something similar to this in just a minute. All right, so rename. And it says new name. Well, I don't want it to be called Employee4. I want it to be called Employee4 Old. I don't know if it'll like that hyphen, so I'll just put OLD. And notice it changed it. That was pretty easy, right? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy in everything, the folder and everything that's in it from what's over on the P drive. What we had done in the past is I had you go in, open up that file, create a brand new project, then open up that file, throw it, copy it to the clipboard and then copy it in, which works. But now what we're going to attempt to do is grab that file from the P drive and copy it right into our workspace. Does that make sense? And when we do this, I don't know if you could do what I'm about to tell you to or not anyway, because you're all got, I don't think you have any access to do this, but there will be an item on there that says copy. It's a checkbox. Make sure you copy it. You check it, because if you don't, you're telling you physically want to move it from where it is to your drive. I don't know if you'd be able to do that anyway, but I don't want to find out. All right, so I'd like everybody, to close whatever you've got up and running here. Whatever you got running, close it. So hopefully your screen looks pretty much like mine. You may not have as many as I have. That's okay. All right. So I got just about everything I can see here is closed. So I want you to do this. I want you to say File, Import. All right. And it'll come up and look like this. And hopefully yours this one is highlighted on yours too, or it's in gray, existing projects into workspace. If it's not, just click on it like that. You don't have to double click it, just click on it to highlight it and put it in blue. All right, then click next. And it says everything's cool. Where do you want to bring this in from? All right, before we do this, look on the screen. If that isn't checked for you, check it now. If that is not checked for you, copy projects into workspace, check it now, please. All right. So we'll have to click the browse button, and we have to tell it basically where it lives. we go down far enough here, somewhere in here, there's your computer. So you want to click there, and you want to find your P drive, click there, and you'll want to go down to CIS, and click there, and then go down to 152.143, click there, and then go down to Spring 2015 and click there, and then go to In Class and click there, then go to today's date and click there, and then find the one that says Employee 4. Okay? Click that and click OK. And ideally, at least, this should be the path then that is shown for you. It says select root directory. I'm talking a little louder because I'm not putting the headphones on. It should look like this, and your project should look something like this. All right? If you've got that, again, make sure where it says copy, down at the bottom where it says there, copy projects into workspace, right here, make sure that that is checked, and then click finish. And you'll notice there it is. And you should see it on yours almost immediately if it worked. Any problems with that? See how advanced you all are? All right. The only problem for you is this. I'd like you to open up your source file. All right, so again, when you've got this, click here, click on source. All right, click on your package name, and double click on this to open it. Okay, that's what's in there right now. Okay, and it all works. The only problem is this line right here. See that? That's not your package name. It's just a crummy, junky package name I put in there. So we're going to try to refactor that. Okay? So I'm going to highlight it, right mouse click, choose refactor. It says no refactoring available. Okay. You missed it. I just flicked off the machine. So, all right, we'll leave it the way it is. That's fine. There's a way to refactor the package name too, but I'd have to go look it up. I thought that we could do it like that. But what you have is the program. You've got the entire program. Yes? I don't think so. All right, we'll try that then. Double click on employee. Right mouse click. Choose refactor and rename. Thank you. And employee is not a good name. What did we use? We used edu.blackhawk. And then whatever you normally put. I just put J. Scott here. You might put student there. You might put something else. I don't know what you put. Thank you. And notice it says here, update references. You want to make sure that that's checked. The other stuff should not matter. And if I click OK, it says type contains a main method. Some scripts may not work after refactoring. It's not a problem. Click continue. And there it is. Thank you. Which was really weird because when I did it this morning, I must have just clicked the employee because it worked. All right, but that's fine. All right, so let's just take a couple minutes and go over this particular example, and then you'll be done early. All right, again, this is the same one, those of you who were in the earlier class, the same program. So notice, if I come in here now, and I do a run, if I put in garbage, well, that's just first and last name, so it has no problem with that. But now hours, it just says, again, resetting to 40. And again, I'll have to change that one line. And it says resetting to 1. Boom, it works. All right. Plus, if I do a run on it, and I put in a first name, and I put in a last name, and I put in something that's out of range, must be between, and it asks you to do it again. Should ask you to do it again. Must be. Okay, let's take a look at that. I think I just broke the program, but that's fine. All right. So here's our hours. Input it, do that. Remember, if this fails, these two lines you see here in 38 and 39, it's going to jump into here. And it's going to say hours work must be numeric and between, again, min hours, which was 1, and max hours, which is 84. So I just reset it manually to 40. All right. Now, while it's out of range, all right, we tell that it must be within range. Hours, that looks okay. I'm not sure why it broke, but it did break. All right, see this? See, you probably know already, but see this? Where it says there, please input hours, that should say hourly rate. So that's line 60 for me here. All right, so that should say hourly rate, not hours. You see something was wrong? Ha, you're right. These two lines that are right here, those two lines should be in there. And these two lines should be in there. Now, technically, I could have made this a do while, and I could have left these two lines out. Okay? So let's real quickly look at what we've changed. We came in here, this said package employee. We right mouse clicked on here, chose Refactor Rename, and renamed it to whatever your package you typically call your package name. Did that. All right. Then, hopefully that everything that's in here just is, for lack of better words, makes sense. I'm assuming no one can work more than 12 hours a day, and if you did that, if you worked 7 days a week at 12 hours a day, that would be 84. That's how I came up with that number. And I'm assuming in here you're going to work at least an hour, because if you don't, it's silly to run the program. All right? And minimum rate, well, if your kids worked, you might pay them $1 an hour. All right? Or if this was China or whatever, you might do that. And we're assuming that the max you can make per hour is that. All right? You laugh, but the front page article in the Chicago Tribune yesterday, in the state in which I live, Bruce Rauner, his plans are to convert Illinois into a right-to-work state. He won't call it that. He's got a nice new name for it, which I can't even remember what it is. Oh, it's not the same thing. It's allow people to choose state. No, it means allow the rich to choose state. This is a guy who literally, they figured out, spent more money on his own candidacy than any other candidate, as far as I know, for the governor for any country in the history of the United States. Because he's a self-made, he's worth about $1 billion. So he spent something like $200 million or something like that. They broke it down. They even know how much he got per vote. And the only reason he got elected is because the other guy who was in there was a crook. Yeah, but you got to realize too that this weekend my wife went. My niece and her husband, they're building. He's a urologist. I guess that's a great field to get into, because he's building himself a mansion on Green Lake. And she went and saw it on Saturday. Her and my daughter went, and all the people who live near there, around them, they all live in Chicago, and that's where they all vacation. And they all say that everybody in Wisconsin, regardless of where you're from, even if it's the border, you're a hick and a cheesehead. So all the stuff that you say bad about Illinois people, they say about you. And I'm from Milwaukee. I'm not going to sit there and say good things about Illinois people. All right? Yeah, I'm right on the border. All right? Literally, I'm 5 miles into Illinois. All right. Is there anything that's in here in these constants that does not make sense to people? If you decided that you wanted to pay your people double time instead of time and a half, all you'd have to do would be to change that from a 1.5 to a 2 or a 2.0. If you wanted to change the minimum or the maximum hours, again, the idea, the reason behind using these constants is set them and forget them one time. Is there anything in here in these variables that don't make any sense? Now, Luke had asked a question during the break, and notice I said both a monetary format and a non-monetary format. I didn't have to do that. I just decided to do it that way to show you that
once we went and imported in this decimal format, all right, once we did that, we now could set up different ones. All right. So I'm assuming that for the non-money, the biggest that will be is 99.99, and the biggest this will be is $999,999.99. Yeah. Now we don't have to do anything in here. I guess I could have checked to see if it was blank, but I didn't. So whatever garbage you put in for the first name and last name, I didn't do any checking of them. All right. Then I did come in here, and we did input, and we validated the hours. All right, so we came in and tried to make sure it was okay. Again, if that failed, that was going to throw you into here. If that didn't fail, it's still possible that you put in a number that was out of range. And as John said, and he was right, I had to add these two lines back in, so copy them from here to here. Because if you don't, it's not allowing you to re-input. All right, then we do the same thing, but with the hourly rate. And again, I had to come back in here and grab these two lines that were right here and add them here. All right. What I'll do is I'm going to save this out on the P drive, the working one, the good one, and I'm going to save it out there as employee 4A. So if you want that, you now know how to go in and import it, all right, and change your package name if you want to do that. If you don't want to, you don't have to. So, last thing. Bless you. Yeah. Well, that's stuck, but that's okay. I'll fix that in a minute. So, for your Chapter 4, we just went over the BMI. And we will go over Chapter 4 as a class, the stuff that's in your book, on Wednesday. And the other one that you're going to be assigned is the Speed of Sound program. Just so you can see it, so to speak, in action. It's trying to quit, it just won't let me quit. So again, the Speed of Sound one that you will have to do so you'll say something like this: enter a distance in feet. So I'll put in 1,000 feet. All right. You enter a 1, it's traveling through the air. A 2, it's traveling through the water. A 3, it's traveling through steel. That make sense? We will go over that and all that's involved in that in your book on Wednesday. So again, the last thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab that employee 4 that now works. I'm going to copy folder. It's now employee 4A. And there it is. That's the working one. And if that was too much for you, I don't know why it would have been, but if it was, you can always go in, double-click on it, double-click on Source, double-click on EDU and Blackhawk and J. Scott, then right-mouse click on here. That's the whole program. You can copy that to the clipboard. You can throw it into your other document also. All right, but at least you have been shown now how to do both importing of projects and refactoring of names. That refactoring works on anything. So if you accidentally, let's say you're in your employee class, you accidentally spelled employee wrong, you transposed a couple letters, you can do the same thing. All right, with refactoring. And that's all that I had.